Hi again then guys, and so we've got another PP specific X tune for you today, and for any who haven't watched any of my other X tunes, basically what we do in this kind of sub-series is we take a vehicle which is popular and already fast and a highly capable car with lots of tuning potential, and we turn it into basically a maxed out performance machine. We take it to virtually its highest PP, the highest power, the lowest weight, etc., to turn it into the ultimate performance car that it can be around a circuit. And in this particular episode we're taking the Ford GT. I've gone for the 2005 model, but they're both very, very similar. The main difference is that the 2005 model, if you choose it without stripes, you can repaint it without stripes. Whereas if you go for the 06 model and you have stripes or no stripes, when you paint it, it gets stripes. So it's an interesting thing to note, depending on if you want or don't want them. Now I've gone for racing soft tyres. I know a lot of people don't like to use those. If you don't, just don't use them. As far as brakes, I've increased the front balance to 6. We've got suspension on 60, front and rear for the ride height. Springs we've increased to 1275 and 1450. The dampers to 5 all round. We've reduced the anti-roll to 2. Camber on 2, which is slightly unusual these days for my tunes. I tend to go for lower camber. Neutral toe. We'll come back to the gearbox in just a second. We've got the initial torque extremely high on this one to really stiffen up that steering. Acceleration and braking right down to 10 for the same reason, because this car does have a tendency to let the nose kind of run away with itself in lower speed corners. All the power upgrades, of course, and I have got an oil change on this one. We've got the maximum downforce on the custom rear wing, the full weight loss package, and I've given it a 39 kilo ballast put all the way to the front of the car just to improve that weight distribution a little bit. It's sitting at, as you can see, 660 pp, which is pretty high for a road car. And for the gearbox, we've got an auto setting of 249 with individual gears of 4, 25-25, 1.8, 1375, 1.1 and 850, with a final drive of 2.9. And overall, that is actually good enough to still give this car a top speed of around 285 under its own power. And that's with downforce. And this is not a top speed tune. Obviously, if it was, it'd be doing around 295. But even as a track car, it can still do that kind of speed, which is interesting to note. But now let's take it out to the track to see how it performs. Now, overall, I wouldn't really call the Ford GT the best of beginner-friendly supercars. It is, though, a very good all-round supercar and certainly makes a superb high PP road car. As I just mentioned, the top speed is over 280 under its own power, which is more than enough for most tracks up to and including Special Stage Route X and the Le Mans. But of course it's not primarily designed just for top speed, but for track potential as well. And although, as I said, it's not the most beginner-friendly of cars, certainly not the easiest of cars to drive fast, it has tons of track racing potential. It can easily race on the same level as a GT1, GT2 or GT3 machine. It can take on numerous race cars, and on certain tracks, it can beat some prototypes. For instance, around the Le Mans, it could beat the Toyota TS30. It could beat the Nissan Zytek, it could beat the Nismo LM, it could even potentially beat the Audi R18 or other vehicles like that. It wouldn't necessarily take on a Pascalo, but there are certainly some prototypes that this car can beat on certain tracks. So, if you decide to use this extreme level tune for the Ford GT, obviously I hope you find it fun and competitive, and if you're new to the channel and would like to keep up with other tune builds like this, be sure to hit subscribe down below. But for now, as always, thanks for watching.